Good morning. This is my design for the Guardian music section homepage. I have started with the advertising in just a pale blue square at the top, which is consistent with what they already do. I don't see a problem with that. I have also placed a square advertising area here. Square because that's the shape of album covers and CD covers, and I thought it'd be quite nice just to keep to that shape. I have also placed another square at the bottom of the page for a repeat of the advertising area, which seems to be what they do at the moment, and I think it works quite well and no need to change it. I did notice recently they've put some advertising on the side columns, which is similar to what they do with the Independent, but I think it's overbearing, so I'd like to avoid that. Next, I've placed the menu bar that is basically standard for the Guardian. I didn't want to change that because it's a lot to do as it is already anyway. I'm not too sure about the colour, different colours for the different sections. I don't know if that's necessary or works. I can understand the thinking to begin with, but I'd be inclined just to keep it all one colour. I don't think it helps to have different sections in different colours. People just get used to where the sections are anyway. However, having said that, and moving on to the bulk of the page, what I've done is divided the page into two distinct columns. One, the first one on the left hand side, is 4 columns wide and is consistent all the way down the page, and then the other column is 2 columns wide on the right hand side. So, starting with the left hand side, I've started with the news, which I think as people come to the Guardian website, that is essentially what they're looking for. Just the latest news on music. If they're browsing the paper anyway, they're sort of just looking for general new news. I've given it a large heading, much larger than what they have used previously, which is consistent with what they are using in the printed version. More than one large image. I think they had just the one large image on the previous website, so here we have 3 large images with some text to the right as an introduction paragraph and a heading. I then have added a also, just a typographical thing, and below that 4 more stories without images, so we can get in 3 news stories. I mean 7 news stories altogether. Following on from that, then I've done some features. So again, with a purple rule and a large heading to break up the look of the page, an introduction paragraph, and from their previous website, 3 features is what they seem to have ongoing for I think a week before they changed those over. So these will be just general music comment. After that, then they have some subsections or smaller sections, which I have divided by using a thinner rule and a smaller headline. There's watch, listen, look, did you miss, and then smaller sections, new music, new band of the day, a sponsored feature, and listening post. Now I've given all these areas the same prominence as what they have on the previous site, so I'm not judging. I mean, I feel, for example, the sponsored feature might have been more prominent, but it's fairly low key on the previous website, so I've kept it low key here. I've divided the column along horizontally for these particular sections, which I think works quite well. I've divided this one into 2. I was in 2 minds about whether to keep having continually horizontal divisions, or whether it might be nice just to break it up a little bit and have these two sections, listen and look, divided into two areas within the one horizontal guide. I'm happy to change that to putting a horizontal line there and having listen all the way along there and look all the way along there, but it's neither here nor there at the moment. I've added a grey box behind the images for text just to hold it all, to give these areas a bit more distinction from each other. Okay, I think that's everything on that, and it just gives it a nice clean flow top to bottom and makes it quite easy to find what you might be after and what you might be looking for. Onto the right hand column, I've put find any artist at the top. I feel that if you come to the website, you'll be for one of two reasons. One, to find out the latest news and gossip, or you might just have remembered something from the day beforehand or 2 days beforehand, or want to look up an artist, and therefore find an artist at the top would be quite handy. You can just go type the artist's name in there and get straight to what you're looking for. Following on from that, then the latest album reviews. I've always felt from music magazines and things like that, album reviews have always been quite an interesting part of what they do, and I think The Guardian, as a journalistic paper, album reviews are things that it should be doing. So I put those in a much more prominent place than where they were beforehand. So they're at the top of the page. And then again, following from that, gig reviews. Again, that's something that I think if somebody went to a gig the night beforehand or missed a gig, they'd like to hear the review about it, and they'd like to see that in the next day's newspaper. And so hence I think, again, that should be quite prominent, and hence it fits nicely in the right hand column, whereas beforehand it was played down quite a lot and maybe only one column wide at the bottom of the page. And then again, moving on from that, I'm aware that a lot of music buffs quite like the opinions of different contributors and follow different contributors as well. And so whilst it was mentioned in the brief that they would like more prominence, I think that is quite a good idea. So I've again put them in more prominence, whereas beforehand they were just stuck right at the bottom of the page. So here again, people can see them much more up front. After that, then there's a non-music section, which is what they call it. I don't know if that's the best name for it, but it has the most viewed articles and also the latest articles. So people can quickly just see what other people have been viewing and click on those individual items if they wished. Then following from that, then there's a community page, which is all about blogging and getting people's opinions on things like a hot topic, getting people's feedback. They seem to just have a random subject, like the best Glastonbury ever, and a bit more about joining the community. I've put this into its own grey box, which is matching the same colour as these grey boxes, to put it distinct from the rest of the page, which is all about news and articles. This is all about the community and what people are saying. After that, then there's a final advertising area, and then there's a final thick dark purple rule to end the site. I think that's everything on this page. I'll take you back to the very top. I'm very happy with the way I think first impressions, and I think that looks great. And thank you very much for listening.